We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling show. I am your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week, as always, the OG Undisputed Scholar himself and your current reigning Scholars of Wrestling party champion. He is Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how are we feeling tonight, sir?
I can't think of a more creative, more original intro for this one. And because I'm the party champion, I'll just go, party time, excellent. And we're clear. All right,
Uh,
woo! Wrestling, yay, win, yay, yeah, woo, woo.
Also joining us this week, another undisputed scholar. He is the one and only Scholar Brian. Scholar Brian, how are we feeling tonight, sir?
Feeling pretty good, doing what I'm not supposed to be doing. Here I am sitting on top of my mountain, trying to let you guys come up to the top, and somehow, for whatever reason, you just let me win prediction shows. What is happening? Why is this happening? Why are you letting this happen again?
Well, for all of those questions to be asked, to be answered adequately, let's go to the answer man himself. You know him, you love him. He is your current reigning Scholars of Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. He is the one and only Scholar Pete. Scholar Pete, do you have an answer for everything Brian just said?
As I live and breathe. Good evening, gentlemen. You know, you may be saying that you've been winning prediction, Scholar Brian, and let me tip of a cap to you boys. Definitely, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not checked out their new show on Tuesday, it was awesome. The Undisputed Scholars making a show, very fantastic. But what's even more fantastic, ladies and gentlemen, is me going to defend my belt at WrestleMania and continue the greatest championship run to undisputed scholar that this show has ever seen. Let me tell you something. This belt is not leaving. And gentlemen, I will be seeing you up top soon enough because I'm not losing this belt until Elimination Chamber 2027. I called it last month and I'm calling it now. I will be champion for a year. Scholar
So,
Jeff,
so
what do you
when
have to say to that?
So when this doesn't happen, Scholar Tarek, what should we make the punishment for Scholar Pete for lying to the audience like this?
We'll uh we'll basically do what I've been trying to get Jeff to do for these last couple of weeks. Put him in the Danhausen makeup and just go and have him be like, "You are cursed." To I don't know, whoever's the current champion at that point, and to be like, let's see how long his curse will actually take form.
I'm walking out as champion from WrestleMania, ladies and gentlemen. I'm walking out as champion. You heard it here.
We'll
Jeff.
see.
Oh, we've got plenty of time to talk smack and figure out some appropriate punishments between now and then. But until then, first, we just had ourselves a little revolution, didn't we? So, without all in mind, let's just jump right in. We just need to talk about AEW Revolution 2026, the pay-per-view that was, because we got more than our fair share of surprises. It's not a secret. Tony Khan did mention that there were going to be some surprises, some celebrity appearances. I don't know about you, but I did not expect Ronda Rousey, of all people, to, among others, to make an appearance on AEW, seemingly setting something up. Like, I personally did not see that coming, but that was far from the only debut, appearance, return that we saw on this show. Gentlemen, let break some ground here.
Well,
What caught you off guard?
let me ask you a question. You talk about how Ronda Rousey caught you off guard. Is it in a good way? Did you actually look at this and be like, A, I'm okay with this, and two, do you think this would actually uh be very beneficial for AEW for the cat on the casual side of things, on gaining momentum on the TV side.
I think it certainly could be. I think there's plenty of upside. Granted, Ronda Rousey being in wrestling in general isn't really a new thing anymore. But having said that, on a personal level, I am going to say, ooh, this like, okay, this opens up a whole fresh crop of new matches that they can possibly do with Ronda. And if Ronda has the right mentality, like she can do a whole hell of a lot. She could be an excellent draw. She can get some great matches. I think there that's going to happen. Looking back and thinking back on it now, I'm under the impression that a lot of what sort of turned Ronda off for a while is WWE management and Vince McMahon and that whole mess. Now that it's under different management, and especially since she got her sort of foot in the door with her one match at Ring of Honor, I'm thinking that there is absolutely a lot of potential here. Again, it's not new. Like, it doesn't hit the same way as when Ronda first joined up with WWE, but make no mistake about it. This can absolutely lead to a fresh new crop of matches and feuds. Basically, whatever they can get Ronda to do, she'll be fantastic at.
I mean, for me personally, I think it's a win on both ends. I think if AEW plays their cards right, which they have been, and we'll get into it when we talk more into about the pay-per-view and my beard rating, but this is great for AEW because Ronda Rousey is facing Gina Cardona and May of Netflix. They're having a big fight. It is the return for Ronda Rousey to be in her former glory because she slipped a little bit. There's no denying that. Her WWE run, you know, fans say here and there, it was what it was. I feel with AEW and coming in and having this mirror on Netflix coming out in May for this big fight that she's in, to be with AEW and just the role that they have been on, which we talk every week, gentlemen. AEW has just been putting out a solid product. No joke. They've just been killing it at all forms. And to bring in Ronda Rousey, to bring in that big name with this big fight coming up, it's just, I think for her, it's great for her and that match and just in all facets for her life. And I think it's great for AEW because it's, oh my God, they got Ronda Rousey because when she did come to WWE, it was a big thing back then. Granted, it didn't span out to be that great, but the initial thing was, oh shit, Ronda Rousey, the Rock, like that's crazy. Like it had us there. But at the end of the day, like this is, I think, a match in heaven for both parties. If, again, they're willing to work and make each other better, there's no doubt that this could not be great for both, without question.
Okay, here's the deal. The issue I had to begin with is Ronda Rousey isn't touching a ring before the fight, which is in May.
May 16th.
May 16th. So although all the Jeff's talk about matches and all that, I'm not convinced. It's great for promotion. Yes, I will give it that. It's great for promotion on both ends. You promote the fight. The fight promotes the wrestler promotes AEW. Just the amount of tickets sold for this fight already means that you're probably going to get a lot more eyes on whatever Ronda Rousey's doing outside. So the promotion aspect, yes, good, cool. The ring stuff, on the other hand, is an issue because Tony Storm's hurt. Coming off of Wednesday, that was coming off of the show on Wednesday, it came out that Tony Storm is legitimately hurt and is going to be out for a while. So it makes it hard to predict what she's going to do now. And as I've stated, I don't. I've been burned by Ronda Rousey too many times in the past to be like I'm okay with her having a run. Okay, if she's in here for promotion for for her fight and a specialty match at Wembley, I am down for that. I am down for I am one for I am down for one story building to one big time match at when Wembley comes. I'm not down for a run. And if that match was against Tony Storm, the way that they were building it up, that's huge. So yeah, of course I'd be down for that. But now with the injury and all that, I wasn't completely sold on it before the news about the injury came out, and now I'm back to that area where it's good for promotion, but I'm not completely sold on how much it'll help AEW in the long run.
Okay,
Okay.
that certainly makes a lot of sense. Again, there's a lot of in my mind, there's a lot of he said, she said, especially about how Ronda's final run in WWE ended. But again, at this far as we're concerned, this is a fresh start. A lot of things are different, so we'll have to see how that all goes. But that was far from the last return that we got at Revolution, because we got the return of Adam Copeland and Christian, and the match has already been set. Cope and Christian versus FTR at the next AEW pay-per-view. I believe it's Dynasty for the AEW tag team titles. I gotta admit, not the biggest fan of Adam Copeland, but you know what? If there's some freshness here, now this is that freshness, especially in the tag division, that I was really looking forward to. That I was really asking for since even before our prediction show last week.
And the good thing about this is they're not like this isn't like a retirement feud. This isn't just Adam Copeland and Christian versus FTR. You still have the Young Bucks involved, so you've got storylines basically set up for months with these teams in all kinds of combinations that you can do. And tell you what, I know what I said on the prediction show about the Young Bucks and FTR. I was not excited. I did not care going in, but damn it, about 5 minutes into that match, I thought I was out, but they pulled me back in. that was that was the perfect way to start the show, and it was a match that was exactly what I had been hoping to see from FTR and the Young Bucks the entire run that they've had in AEW that I haven't yet that I haven't seen yet. That was the best of the matches that they've had, and it's like uh, okay, I was out before, I'm back in. I'm excited to see what you do now that you have Copeland and Christian in the mix, and you did a good job. You pulled me back into a thing that I did not care about going in, and that's what AEW does on the whole, on the regular. You think you're not going to care, but they always get you.
You think you know them, but on this day, you see clearly everything has come to light.
God damn it.
That, that's a good one.
Brian,
Biscuits and
Brian,
gravy.
Made me a man.
You
I
walked right
did.
into that one.
I did.
You opened the door wide open and Jeff was just going, ain't nothing gonna break my
And
stride.
Jeff was
Ain't
ready.
nothing gonna slow me down.
Careful, careful, Tarek. We're gonna get flagged on YouTube because you're too perfect.
Oh,
With my feeling with Edge and Christian, I like what they're doing because it's Christian being still a douche. And like, I feel it's great for his character as a whole because with the Edge and Christian slash Cope and Christian K, like, it's just, I feel now they each can play off. It could be a cool dynamic. It's like you said, Scholar Brian, so nicely, is Young Bucks are involved. You got FTR involved. You got Cope and Cage. Like, you're telling me there's not magic in the next couple of months in that tag team division with those men? Like, and the fun bits they'll have, the moments they'll have. I think, again, it's why I will give you a little hint. This is a very favorable pay-per-view for me just because of the great moments and just all around of AEW right now and how it's going. Like, it's great. Scholar Tarek, your thoughts?
Triple threat ladder match at Wembley. That's
Yeah.
all I saw. That's all I saw from this with Young Bucks, FTR, and I guess A and C now. Triple
Don't
threat,
put
triple threat
don't
ladder
put
match, and
Copeland in a ladder match. He'll break all the bones in his body.
hey,
But
I'm
you
not
know
You
they
putting.
would
said,
be
not
I'm not
winning.
gonna
me.
put it.
You know they would
I'm not
win.
putting it. They're gonna put it. They're gonna put themselves in that match, and you know it. I mean, fuck, man, he jumped. He broke his legs in a Hell in a Cell match, and he's come right back. Like, okay, I'm gonna just continue doing this, and I don't care. I'm gonna keep going until I can't go no more.
Till he's 90.
Till
Oh
he's.
God.
But
But yeah,
hopefully,
but
yeah.
yeah, when it came to the match at Revolution, yeah, great official opener because we know the real opener was Jungle Jack Perry winning the national championship. Yep, saw that coming. Saw that coming a mile away. Uh,
Yeah, as I said, started off real nice.
start
Fell
off
off
real
pretty
nice.
quick.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, shit, we all thought the Don Callis family was gonna retain the trios titles, and all of a sudden, here comes Mystico and Jet Speed coming in and be like, "Yeah, we're gonna just be awesome and just uh, pin Mark Davis." And now Mystico is all elite with a dual contract with him and CMLL.
And
Okay, I'm perfectly fine. And then I see this, and people's response. Of course, these like complete morons, like, "Oh, hopefully he doesn't botch his way in this one too." And I'm just like, people, shut the hell up.
He hasn't
If
been
you're
botching for years. This,
exactly, if you're
this
still
ain't Sin
looking back on
Cara.
his run, if you're looking back on his Sin Cara run, then you're just not paying attention, and you're just nothing more like you're nothing more than just a troll wanting to like be like, "Oh, I'm funny, I'm funny." It just again makes you look sad. I am super happy now with how this again match that came absolutely out of nowhere, literal days after they Jet Speed lost the trios championship with Hangman Adam Page, to just go, "Hey, we're gonna just replace him with Mystico over here," and then guess what? We're gonna
then
win,
it's like nope.
motherfuckers.
And nobody thought twice about Mystico just coming in to take a pin, and that would be it. And then they win, and it's like, oh really? And then it's like, oh, and then it's like Mystico is all elite. Well, holy shit. That's AEW and Tony Khan at pay-per-views for you.
Right. And apparently, after this week, he's not the only one that's having a dual contract with Claudio getting a CMLL contract, and now I can't say he's what's the equivalent of CMLL's All Elite? I don't know.
Yeah,
He is all
we're
elite. He's
He is All
Claudio.
Elite, but what's the CMLL
no,
version
we're
of that?
not
Because
gonna.
he signed a contract with them too.
Claudio is a good lucha thing. I don't know.
He's
Yes,
a oh yeah, he
yes,
does have a mask now when he comes out in his entrance. So yeah, he's doing
yes. He
lucha
is
things.
one of those good lucha things.
But speaking of good lucha things, we would be remiss if we didn't at least address how the main event ended. Because yes, I was right. MJF defeated Hangman Page, and at least according to the stipulation, Hangman can never challenge for the AEW World Championship again. And
But if you
apparently,
watch,
he's taken
but if
some time off.
but if you
Okay. First
watch,
off,
if
I was not honestly, I was expecting you to talk about Andrade and Bandito when you said lucha things. So you caught me completely off guard with that one. So you're like,
You're welcome.
speaking of lucha things, oh, Bandito and Andrade, that was an awesome match. Let's talk about the main event. Oh, well, shit. Never mind.
But it's one of those things. It's like in hindsight, my reaction to the end of the match, which was going onto the group chat and posting, well, go me, I guess. when when MJF won, okay, first he cuts that promo. First, Tony Khan comes out at the press conference afterwards. It was like it's not a contract; it's a verbal agreement. So I'm like, oh, okay. So there's your loophole right there. And then secondly, MJF cuts that promo on Wednesday. That's like, I'm gonna be here defending this title and defending my main event spot for the next 20 years while Hangman Page has got to be stuck in the mid card. And it's like, oh, yeah. If he's breaking that stipulation sooner than you think. but but it
I'm not convinced it's going to be as soon as you're probably leading on.
oh
But yeah,
I'm
what's
not saying I'm not saying like by the end of the year. I'm like saying like a year, 2 years down the line, that stipulation will come away. But it's
Mhm.
like we've gotten 2 points of confirmation now, basically, that is like, hey, the stipulation's got to turn out to be bullshit. So you don't have to worry about long-term ramifications, which makes me go back and look at this match differently.
It's the exact same way with me. Once the show initially ended, I even said on our group chat, my simple response, fuck. Cause I made it perfectly clear when they first announced the stipulation and to the prediction show last week. I was not a fan of this. I had a feeling like MJF was gonna win, but I didn't want to see him win because of that stipulation. Now that you have Tony Khan simply said this was nothing more than just a gentleman's agreement, verbal agreement. And the MJF promo, they gave themselves a way out down the line. But uh like Brian said, I it actually changed my view on the match. I mean, shit, I can't even really call it a match. I mean, death matches is perfect for it. And there were a couple of moments that were too extreme for my tastes, but I don't find myself hating it. I wasn't angry. I'm thinking, oh, this is just garbage. This isn't real wrestling. But again, we're the scholars of wrestling. We all wrestling. Some of us like the death matches. So that type of wrestling exists, and AEW is not that product that's it's like, oh, we're an alternative to WWE, but we're like not trying to be like them. We are our own thing that just goes through all forms of wrestling, and that just is too extreme for people's liking. But now that they have that stipulation, they have the two way out for whenever that's going to be down the line. I'm sure they even have this. They have this planned. They have what what that moment will be, what that will bring Adam Page back to the world heavyweight title picture way down the line, which will probably be under like a year and a half, 2 years. I could see Adam Page taking his time away from the world title picture that will not have fans sick of him being in that world title picture like they'd have with Cody Rhodes in WWE. Now he's been in the basically the world title picture for almost 3 years now, and he's already even when after he won it the initial time, people are already tired of him because okay, well his story is over now. We just don't care anymore, and now people are constantly booing him. They're gonna cheer the hell out of Randy Orton at WrestleMania. So and people are already just saying, "Oh, Cody Rhodes is too good." Now we don't have that moment. We're not going to get moments like that for Adam Page because he had the time in the main event. He was the main character for a good long time in the last 2 years, which again fits perfectly with the character. Hell, that's what made him scholar. That's what made him wrestler of the year for me for 2025. Now, before they can actually make him get to a point where people are booing him, they took him away from the world title picture, and now he could do continental title things. He could do international title things. He could do tag team, trios. He'll probably. Uh, I don't see him being in the TNT picture. I just don't. But hell no, maybe he. That's still a possibility. That door is open. He can spend time away from the main event. Apparently, he's even taking time off between after Revolution. He's gonna spend some time away uh, from like the main show. So again, there's now that time where they now have the loophole. He can come back eventually down way down the line, which I am all for. I was all for that. Now we can see our Swerve Stricklands, our Kenny Omegas, possibly Okada's, Kyle Fletcher's in the future. There, we have such a good pool of main event talent that can go for the world title that that Adam Page can take a step back and still be relevant, continue character arcs. Let's see where he goes after this loss, where he's going to be mentally. Again, the possibilities now are endless, and I'm confident that AEW has the storyline already set in motion. Hopefully, they don't have to pivot because they've already established they're not that great at pivoting. Because instead of pivoting, it's like, okay, we're just going to put this on pause and just wait till he's better and then he'll be back. But after all that, it's now, I'm not angry at the main event anymore. I'm now looking at this in the long run, and it was just great character work from both MJF and Hangman Page going back on their 3 years. And having just the final shots of Hangman's blood on the camera as MJF stands over him, that's just great character work, great storytelling from the past few years that these two have been rivals. And it's right now my pay-per-view of the year so far for Scully's. It's still early. There's probably going to be even better shows, but as of right now, this was a very phenomenal show, and it's my number one.
With that all being said, what would you give for this beard rating for AEW Revolution 2026? As if you haven't made it abundantly clear.
Oh, funny enough, I'm actually not going to go face because
Really?
there was at least a couple of things that didn't work for me, and it mainly stems to the trios match with Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, and Roderick Strong versus the Dogs. I don't think this match needed to be on the show. Especially like if the Dogs were going to actually win it, that was a different story. But if they were planning on booking this match to have the Dogs lose on their first pay-per-view, I don't want it to be on pay-per-view. I'd rather that's the only match that honestly I would take off the show just to put it on a main event or Dynamite or Collision. Because the fact that the Dogs are kind of on it, like I think they've only won one match since they came in, or at least since Finley came in.
Certainly seems that way.
But yeah, and that was also on one match on Collision, and then they've just been losing. They lost the tag team match that before David Finley even showed up, and they lost. They're still losing. They lost this one, and they lost the singles match on Dynamite. So it's like, if you're keeping like trying, if you're basically having them lose consistently, I actually think it hurts them more to lose on a pay-per-view than to lose on Collision or Dynamite. So that was the only match that actually made me go, okay, this match is the lowest point on this show, and I'm not for it. So I'm gonna give it like a 4.5. It's still a very high rating. It's a very high full beard, but you take that match out, it would have been a go face for me.
That's very respectable. And I admit I was sort of vacillating in that same range. However, for me, I am going to give it a full-on goat face just for not so much all the flawless matches, but compared to what I was expecting versus what I got, not just in terms of match quality, surprises, and overall enjoyment. I can see why you'd give it the score you did, and but for me personally, I gotta put it over the top and give it a full-on goat face. This show absolutely satisfied me from top to bottom. Uh, Gentlemen, what do you think?
I will go straight full beard and hear me out. Okay. First of all, as I said, in I was not impressed with Ronda Rousey coming in. I understand the promotion, but if I think it's too early for you to bring her in, I would have brought her in for Dynasty at that point, because you're going to have 2 months of her doing promo and not being able to step into a ring before her fight on May 16th. So I'm like, that's 2 months of her doing nothing. And now with the whole added caveat of Tony Storm being hurt, now I don't know what she's going to be doing while she's here. So that I wasn't a fan of Ronda Rousey coming in. As Tarek said, the 6-man tag with the dogs and the conglomeration, um, I don't think that needed to be there. And if you're just going to keep having Gabe Kidd, Finley, and Connors lose, what are we doing here? And even though I said that I felt better about MJF and Hangman Page, this was still one of my least favorite matches on the card, just because, not because of the hardcore aspects or whatever, even though I could have done without all the mouth stuff and the syringe and all that noise. But the deal is, the story that they built up coming into it did not have me emotionally invested in this match. I was not emotionally invested in Hangman versus MJF Texas Death the way that I was for the Swerve and Hangman Texas Death and the Moxley and Hangman Texas Death, both of them. So going in, if I'm not emotionally attached to your main event the way I should be, then it's not going to hit as hard. And I don't think, and in that case, I didn't really, it didn't really hit me the way that it was supposed to. That last image with the blood and MJF holding his title high, it didn't hit me the way it was supposed to, because I was not emotionally invested at the beginning of the match because of the story they told coming in. Whereas the other Texas Death matches that Hangman Page had were culminations of those stories that were 4 months in the buildup, and Swerve and Moxley and all that. They had all this emotion built up behind it. This was more like they had a month of promo battles leading up. It's Hangman's match. He's got all the cards stacked behind him. You go in basically knowing that MJF is going to win, even though 60% of us were hoping against hope that Hangman was going to win. But it's just one of those things where if I'm not emotionally invested, I don't get into the match. And if that's your main event, that's a problem. So yes, I go I don't go high full beard, I go regular full beard.
And Scholar Pete, if you had to give this show a beard rating, what would we go with?
Of course, the easy answer would be a 5 out of 5, a full goat, because let's explain. First of all, the shout out to MJF and the Terry Funk uh equipment shorts he was
Attire.
wearing or
Mhm.
tights he was wearing for the tribute. Very good. It's why I think AEW is honestly the hottest ticket right now is MJF. It definitely is just delivering as an overall package, and that's why the pay-per-view for me was a absolute perfect package. Yes, there was a couple of problems here and there, but at the end of the day, it had its big moments. You had your the Ronda Rousey, you had the Edge and Christian or Copeland and Cage, and just how AEW has been going and the train they are on. I feel like I'm not going to call it the WrestleMania, but I feel like this was a nice like SummerSlam for them type of show where it was like, man, like I'm going to remember like this pay-per-view top to bottom, great matches, great debuts. I think this will be talked about. Like Scholar Tarek said, is basically like I could see this maybe not being the best pay-per-view of the year, but definitely honorable mention for pay-per-view in the year. And that's where I stand as well. Jeff,
Excellent. Uh yeah, but we've been talking about AEW for quite a while. But Raw had some surprises for us too, because WWE is once again, at the risk of sounding cliche, on the road to WrestleMania. So I don't know about you, but things were a little stagnant for my taste, and they really needed to get something going for WrestleMania. And we got that right out of the gate. We got Brock Lesnar coming in, and right up front at the start, we got the match we were all suspecting: Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar, set for WrestleMania. Gentlemen, thoughts, reactions, ranting and raving.
I
I
was
am
so pissed at the beginning. I was so pissed at the beginning when I thought they were setting up for Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins. I was so pissed. And then the music hit, and I'm like, yes, yes. And then it's like Obafemi power bombs Brock Lesnar, and I'm like, oh shit, they're actually gonna have Obafemi come in. They're doing this right, and it looks like Brock Lesnar's game, and I am down, and I am here for Obafemi versus a Brock Lesnar who's actually into what he's doing.
and you have Brock Lesnar yell at you saying, "Put your foot on me." Yeah, I think he's very invested in this.
you saw it in where you see a clip of Oba tearing up right in his eyes because of what Brock gave, and you see Brock smiling outside the apron. It shows that Brock knows. Listen, say what you will about Brock. He does what's right for business. He puts over the people. He makes every he knows what he's doing, and I think he sees that Femi is going to be just a fucking wild horse that's just going to be like taken over. And for him to take a bump like that with him coming in, and like I said, the emotion you see, both men are on board. I could see this being one of the best matches low key on the card. I think if both men have the heart, which they clearly do, I could see this being like match of the night of night one or match two. What a great opener! It's this has legs, and that's what I liked about it. And this made me invested, and it has legs, and both people want to work together, and you could see that it's going to be great. I think it's going to be great. It's going to definitely be my most anticipated match now, without
So
question.
you think it's going to be on night one?
I think it will probably be night one, and it will either be the first match or it will be like towards the end of the night. Like before, not before like Cody and Randy, but it will be like Brock, Femi, insert match, main event.
Okay. Well, I have a different idea of mine of where that match is going to be, and you can find that out on Undisputed Scholars Presents on Top of the Mountain with me and my fellow Undisputed Scholar, Scholar Brian.
Ugh.
Cheap plug. Damn right. I saw an opening and I took it for a nice cheap plug for mine and Brian's Undisputed Talk, where we put our predictions on what the matches will be the final card of WrestleMania 42. Be sure to listen to the two. So, yeah, I will say, but back to our currently scheduled program, what I liked about this Raw is, as Jeff was pointing out earlier, that now this is definitely the Raw that is really the start of the road to WrestleMania. We have our five main matches official. Now it's time to start filling out the rest of the card so we can actually try and get more butts in that stadium in Vegas uh next month. So yeah, it was definitely a very fun Raw. Um we definitely have our storylines going in on what could possibly be in the undercard, and hopefully they keep this momentum going. I mean, who knows what they're gonna do on SmackDown after Orton quote unquote turned heel, because I say turned heel, he may be officially a heel, but like I said earlier, the fans are still gonna pop his hell for him because this is the first time he's been a heel since, I think the stat is that he was the last time or this has been the longest time he's been a face his entire career. I think it's been like over 5 years they've had him a face ever since um shit, what was the name of his tag team with Matt Riddle?
God.
Shit. What was it? His tag team name, Orton and Matt Riddle?
RK Bro.
RK Bro, thank you. And that was what, in like before COVID started, like 2019.
Something like
So
that.
I actually, I got to look up that stat because they had said this was the longest face
It's
run
about
that
five
Randy Orton
years.
has.
If it was around COVID, then it was 2021.
Let's see.
So
RK Bro. No,
I
nope.
I love me a psychotic Randy Orton more than any other version of Randy Orton. So what he did on SmackDown hit me right in my feels. I'm like, we've got the Randy Orton we need for a WrestleMania title picture uh match.
April 2021. That was when RK Bro formed. So I think that's when he actually really turned face. So yeah, so 5 years, longest face run for Randy Orton, and yeah, who am I kidding? It's still going to be a face run because the fans are going to cheer the hell out of it. He'll do the dirtiest thing, and we're just be
And
like,
until he
yeah,
punch
kick his fucking head off.
until he actually goes up against someone who they like.
So the question I have, who do you think he was on the phone with on that quote unquote interview that wasn't pre-recorded? Would I lie?
I'll be honest, I've been thinking about this back and forth. I couldn't I couldn't possibly think. Like I've been watching or listening rather to Busted Open quite a lot, and they keep going back and forth like, oh, it could be this person, could be that person. The whole wrestling as more than one royal family thing just sort of throws everything for a loop. Like, I'll be honest, I know this is gonna sound like a cop out, but I sincerely have no idea where this could all be going. I truly don't.
It'll be Ted DiBiase Jr. and you bring back Legacy. Legacy storyline.
Yeah,
Oh no, he
not
can't
with
do
that.
that. I know he can't do. I
No.
know he actually can't do that because of DiBiase Jr.'s legal trouble. I That was just a joke. It's not really going to be that way.
Oh man.
It's not really going to be. I have two leading contenders, and it's either Ric Flair or Kevin Owens. Some people would say it's Cowboy Bob Orton because of the whole wrestling has more than one royal family.
He called
But
up The Rock.
he called, oh, imagine
The
with the
And
Rock
that
way
decided to make
with
his presence known at WrestleMania this year after he fucked it up last year.
leave it to bringing in The Rock, and then that will be the reason that will make them switch up and make Cody and Randy the main event of night two instead of Roman and Punk. Screw over Punk again.
and I think that's what's really giving me pause here. Like, yeah, there's a lot of names it could possibly be that are big, but for whatever reason, it's either the answer doesn't quite fit or it doesn't quite make sense. Like, there's not any one very obvious pick that we're coming up with. And it's just like there's a lot of things that could maybe fit the bill, but honestly, I just truly have no idea what's going on. But honestly, in the best of ways, like there's some unpredictability to WrestleMania at this point. And frankly, that's all I really wanted.
Mm.
But speaking of unexpected, there's really only one other thing that jumps out to me from this past Monday night, and that is CM Punk breaking against Roman Reigns, just calling him old. Like after all the barbs they trade, the promo being just okay, here's another promo. He calls CM Punk old, and that's what makes him snap and punch him. Like now, I've been reading a whole lot of reactions to this promo, and while it's understandable, my personal viewpoint was when I heard this, I was thinking, okay, this is a strange thing for CM Punk to react to, and that's the thing that sort of makes him lose his cool. Now I want to know why. Now I'm looking forward to next week's promo where he sort of elaborates on how why that got to him so bad.
Well,
That of all things.
he
See,
kind of
you
has
just
been, honestly. He has
yeah.
been these past couple of months of the whole his greatest enemy is the fact that he is on a he is reaching that point where he is old and his biggest opponent is time. So using that in the promo, I am with you. It may in the storyline aspects, it makes sense, but to have that be the point where he punches Roman, where you have the whole story of both these guys are in each other are like they're both in each other's heads. They both are in each other's skin. The difference between that is that Roman, as you can see that it is bothering him, but it's still he's able to keep his cool and not lash out where CM Punk lashed out here. And when you have the reports that they were gonna bring in Larry, his his dog, into the story, and that was gonna be the reason that he actually threw the punch. That may when you think about it in the long run, okay, that would be a better reason to want to punch Roman in the face and knock out his fake teeth. Um, but with what we got, it when I watched it, I pretty much had a similar reaction where I'm just going, that was it? That was the thing that actually got you angry? I know that's what you're building on storyline wise, but overall, I think that was just kind of weak and made you look weak. And it actually made me not actually add anything. It kind of actually took away in my view of the aspect of excitement I have for this match because when my biggest enjoyment of this one is the fact that the Zebros are fighting for the world title at WrestleMania. That just shows you're not doing great. You're not doing a completely stellar job of really like grabbing me, hooking me in, and reeling me in on the excitement for WrestleMania. I'm just excited Punk is getting a night two main event at WrestleMania, but convincing me storyline that this is actually exciting. They're not doing such a great job. They still have 3 weeks to keep to go in. They have other storyline aspects that I'm actually more invested in with this one. I'm the irony that the Usos are pointing out that Punk hasn't apologized for what he said about Roman's dad a couple weeks ago, yet you have Roman sitting there who hasn't apologized for all the atrocities he did during the entire, like from the beginning of the Bloodline story to right now. So, and people are still looking at the Usos as Roman's lapdogs. There's intriguing stories to go for that aspect, and that's where I'm just going like, yeah, you are keeping in on this story even when Roman came back and Jay won the Intercontinental and then he won the world title. There's still that friction there, and we're looking at this like, yeah, you have Roman saying yeet, but he still hasn't really apologized for the physical and mental abuse that he put on his cousins for all those years. So again, hopefully they'll throw that in. They'll throw that in with these next couple of weeks to build to WrestleMania. That kind of shit will get me really intrigued on the storyline. But until then, this is just okay. Sure, it's gonna be a fun. It's gonna be a good match at Mania, but I'm not really sold. And that's really the real aspect of what this build for WrestleMania is. I mean, the show when you have see the matches on paper, they look good. But when you actually are seeing the or at least storylines building into it, they're just like, okay. Again, they started really emphasizing on it this past Monday, which is very good, but they still need a lot of work in these next 3 weeks to really get me invested, like
Hmm.
fully invested.
I'll just say this about when he threw the punch. The moment he threw the punch after Roman said that he was old, I locked in my winner pick. And we are how many weeks away from the show?
3.
3. When it's WrestleMania season and I'm locking in my winner pick 3 weeks beforehand, that's not a good thing for your main event. It's look, CM Punk brought up Roman's dead dad, and Roman said to CM Punk that he's old, and then CM Punk threw a punch. You bring up the dead dad, and you bitch out when you're called old. You just locked in my winner pick for the main event of WrestleMania Night 2, 3 weeks out, and that's the problem with this story. If they had went with Larry, with bringing up Larry to offset the dad thing, then I'd be like, okay, we're back to even. I don't know who's gonna win, but dead dad, old. Come on, bro.
Yeah, there's certainly more than enough time for them to actually turn something into this before we hit WrestleMania time. Scholar Pete, any thoughts before we move on about the state of the CM Punk Roman Reigns feud?
You gentlemen hit it on the head. I mean, I I hope that they turn around. I hope Punk's able to switch it around and figure out something to do with it. Punk is great on the mic, so maybe this was just so the promos get better, glass half full. I'm just hopeful that they could spin this around. I mean, with how Roman has come into his own and become the tribal chief, and with CM Punk just being CM Punk good on the mic, there's no reason why this old thing is not going to stand. Like, give it juice, give it something. Pivot WWE and make me care about night two's main event. Jeffrey.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. But, we're going to be keeping eyes on Raw, but AEW still has a little bit left in the tank, and they are wasting no time setting up for their next batch of storylines, including what I find to be one of the more intriguing ones. We got Swerve Strickland coming fresh off of a victory from AEW Revolution, ends up challenging Kenny Omega, not only for the number one contendership for the AEW World Championship, but also for Kenny Omega's EVP role. I gotta say, I
See,
feel it's been a while. Brian, go ahead.
see that played out completely different to me because that just confirmed to me that Swerve Strickland isn't winning this match. First of all, MJF is the champion. You're not going to have a heel Swerve Strickland versus a heel. Yeah, you still get the Swerve's house chance, but dude's a heel. He took out Kenny Omega, who's basically the second, either the first or the second biggest babyface in your company right now. He's a heel, so it's like, yeah, it's all well and good that you want the EVP status for your number one contendership, but it's like you just basically confirmed to me that Kenny Omega's getting the title shot at Dynasty, which is which is fine. Love that, but it's not a pay-per-view match, which means the EVP isn't going to change hands. And the fact that Swerve, the EVP, if it was for Kenny Omega not being the EVP anymore and that's it, that would be intriguing because that could possibly happen. But Swerve Strickland becoming EVP himself, no shot. Kenny Omega, so it's like, yeah, the promo and the build up to the match and the match itself is going to be good, but it's like once you add in that stipulation, I'm going to take your EVP spot. I'm going to be the EVP. No, that's not going to happen, buddy.
I
All
mean,
right.
I, I feel similar to Brian, like exactly what he said. And you're telling me that Kenny Omega versus MJF won't be fire. That's all I got to say. Literally, that's all I got to say. Scholar Torek, anything to add on this match or this?
Both both matches, whether it's Swerve or Kenny Omega is going to be fire. But I agree with Brian. It pretty much you can't. It's hard to see Kenny Omega and MJF not happening at Dynasty. So that's where I see happening. I'm really looking forward to that.
Speaking of some things that may not be quite as expected, uh, in the world of things that are unexpected in AEW, we were surprised that just recently that apparently Tony Storm is out for the foreseeable future with an injury, which led her to her being written off of TV this past week. And who took her place was none other than Mina Shirakawa, getting that return match against Marina Shafir that was supposed to go to Tony Storm, and which actually saw not Marina, Mina Shirakawa getting a victory over Marina Shafir. I was really surprised by this, but
I
now
feel,
go on.
yeah, I feel kind of that they didn't want to change how the story of that match was going to happen, so they just put Mina Shirakawa in Tony Storm's place and was like, "We're just gonna do the match that we were planning on doing with Tony Storm. We're not gonna switch up the winner. We're just gonna do the match." So once I figured that out, I'm like, okay, this was how it was supposed to end in the first place. They just decided to keep going with that. And since Mina is Tony's tag team partner and like closest person, I guarantee you it's going to turn out probably that Mina was the one who took her out when the time comes for her to come back. And I love the idea that I want them to do like the murder mystery deal, like every week more clues are found, and all that. And I love the idea of that and AEW taking that on. But as much as I would have loved Marina to take the victory in that no holds barred match, if the entire idea to begin with was we're just going to keep going with how the match is going to play out, if Tony was in the match, I'm okay with that.
That's what I initially thought. My initial thought was, okay, with Tony Storm out of the way, is this going to is this vacancy going to lead to the focus and dare I say even a push for Mina Shirakawa? Because I feel like in Mina's face, I feel like Mina was one of those people who really had a lot of really main event promise, had a lot of upside, but really just needed sort of a vacancy in order to like spread her wings a little bit more. Because it seems like for the longest time she was sort of taking a backseat to the Tony Storms, to the other main event personalities, or not even main event personalities, just people in other divisions like Willow Nightingale in the TBS division and that kind of thing. Now I feel like there's a vacancy now that Tony Storm is going to be on the shelf for a while. Will they actually follow through? Will AEW actually capitalize on this vacancy and push Mina in any meaningful way?
I think so. I think they're going to push her for the time that Tony Storm's out, and then when Tony Storm comes back, I think that it's going to turn out that Mina's the one who attacked her because you see the grit. You see something in Mina in that no holds barred match that you haven't seen before in her entire run in AEW. So it's like you can play off that. You can give her a run while Tony Storm's out, and then have it turn out to be that she was the attacker. And it's like as I'm saying it, I am locked in on that idea, and it's like now I need it. So yeah, push Mina Shirakawa for the time being, and when Tony Storm comes back, there's your there's your feud. I just made a story for the next 6 months.
Is that how long Tony Storm is going to be out?
I don't know, but it's they Brian Alvarez said it's going to be a lengthy amount of time.
Shit.
I don't know what that means,
Oh,
but
it's not great though. Hmm.
it's not one of those 3 weeks and you're back on TV thing. I think I it sounds like it's one of those hopeful for Wembley, but not sure.
Scholar Pete, any insight? Do you want to see more from Mina Shirakawa? Is this the option, or is this just not doing anything for you either way?
No, Scott O'Brien said it great. I think that's what they're doing. They're pivoting, they're posting, and when Tony comes back, I feel like you said, it's gonna be her. I think it sucks for Tony Storm, but the possibilities I think are endless right now with the parties involved. Jeffrey,
Or they could just have this be their way of actually bringing Britt Baker back onto TV.
Oh, yeah.
I played her theme today on my way home from work. The
Did you?
doctor will see you now. Dun 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 dun. Good motivation to get ready for the happy hour, gentlemen.
Well, speaking of happy hours, this wrestling was good and all. But you know what? We need to break out the happy. We need to break out the real big show of this past week. and the week to that's to come, you know what I'm talking about. It is time for the best of Saturday night in a little segment we like to call Saturday Night Slam Masters, because I am your World Wildlife Fund Saturday Night Velocity TM World Champion.
The
Pete,
title's back.
the title is back, back from the cleaners, back from being dry cleaned as you do.
with all your titles.
Scholar Pete, he is, of course, your Saturday Night AEW Collision World Champion,
Collision Corner.
Collision Corner World Champion, whatever. Because you know
Ho,
what
ho,
we're here to
ho.
do. We are here to give you a sneak preview of the very best in the Saturday night world of professional wrestling in our respective favorite wrestling shows of the week. But the most pertinent question right now, gentlemen, who gives their sneak preview first?
I would say let Pete go first because you well, one thing, you forgot the name of his show, and then once he corrected you, you just blew it off. Oh yeah, that show, whatever. Might as well
He is the Collision
have the
World
whatever show,
Champion.
have
But
the
let me tell
whatever
you
show
something.
take the reins and be like, yeah, well, this is my show. I'm gonna one up you with it.
Well, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, then what happens here, just so you know, is we'll make up three matches each. It is wrestling related. And at the end, of course, you in the comments, please let us know who wins between me and Jeff. And of course, we'll have the undisputed scholars saying which show they will watch. But of course, there is no question of what show you're going to watch, ladies and gentlemen, because the show you're going to watch is AEW Collision Corner. That's right, not that piss-ad fucking velocity shit over there. Let me tell you why. Because our number one match, our first match, is a match that you've all wanted to see. It is, of course, Psychosis putting his mask up against Rey Mysterio Jr., putting his mask up against Sting. Yeah, that's right, Sting. What's behind the face paint? In a triple threat. Who's got the ugly face? Now we move on to match number two. Of course, when you're thinking buff the stuff Bagwell, you're thinking the biceps. We're gonna have a bicep off with Buff the Stuff Bagwell versus Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump versus Puff Puff Puff. Who wins with muscles? I'll tell you what, we'll find out between Buff Bagwell versus Scott Steiner and muscles off. And of course, our main event. If muscles are too much for you, we understand. We got what you need. We got what you want. We're going to have the tag team match of the century, ladies and gentlemen. When you think of giants, you think of Andre the Giant. When you think of giants, you think of the Big Show. That's right. 1,000 pounds is on one side of the ring versus the lightest people in the world. That's right. Rey Mysterio Jr. comes back and tag teams with Hornswoggle in the ultimate David versus Goliath match. Who comes out victorious? You know where you're going to find this? Only on Collision Corner. So let me tell you something. Sit back, ladies and gentlemen, and enjoy our programming because we bring it to you, the fans. Like and subscribe to the channel, please, and thank you. Scholar Jeff?
Rey
Well,
Mysterio pulling double duty.
that seems like a very fine card indeed. But you know what? Here on Saturday night's Velocity World Wildlife Fund TM, we don't settle for just good. We don't settle for just adequate. We settle for the very best of the very best. And when we think about the very best of everything that we've got in our women's division, we've got the match you thought you would never see, but actually deep down always wanted to. Maybe not so deep down, because we've got Aja Kong going one-on-one with Awesome Kong in a I can't think of an adequate pun here match, but you know what? It's going to be a brawl, and you know it's a brawl because sometimes that's all you need to see. Just big
Battle of the
meaty
Kongs.
gals slapping meat. I don't know. You don't know. But you know what? I'm just going to go back to the drawing board here because here on the World Wildlife Fund Saturday Night Velocity TM program, We bring the matches that you want to see, but every once in a very rare while, we need to give me what I really want to see. So that's why this Saturday you're going to be seeing Cactus Jack going one-on-one with Bruiser Brody in an exploding ring death match because hell, that's just what I want to see. And it's my show. I'm the champion. So that's what we're going to do. But you know what? We're going to send you all happy. As if that wasn't enough, as if that's not the match everyone wanted to see, we still have one more surprise in store for you, ladies and gentlemen, because we've got the returning Terry Funk going one-on-one with his most hated and most mysterious, most controversial rival. That's right. He's going to be going one-on-one against Doink the Clown. That's right. They said it would never happen again. We're going to be bringing it to you because that's what we do here at Saturday Night Velocity World Wildlife Fund TM, the very best of the very best. Fellow scholars, back to you. What are you going to be watching this weekend?
I wonder how that fits on the title so much. I mean, it's a very lengthy show you got. Does it really fit on that title that well? I wonder.
Yes.
I will say this. I am very impressed with the matchmaking for both cards. Saturday Night Velocity World Wildlife Fund TM is intriguing for one match for me and one match only, and that is the exploding ring death match between Cactus Jack and Bruiser Brody. But you know what? Sometimes you just want to see a giant eat a midget. And I am
Well spoken
here for
words.
and I am here on this particular any other week, the exploding ring death match would have been all you needed. But it's been a rough week for me, and I need some humor, and I just need to see Andre the Giant eat Hornswoggle. So for this week, for that reason and that reason only, I will be watching Saturday Night Collision Corner while keeping an eye out over there on that exploding ring deathmatch.
That second screen experience.
Eating a midget while chugging down a giant thing of beer. There
As is the Andre way.
Exactly. Well, I'm actually gonna go the other route. I'm actually choosing Velocity uh TM because I don't remember the rest of the name.
World Wildlife Fund presents
World
Saturday Night
Wildlife.
Velocity TM.
Yes, that. Because I want to see Chainsaw Charlie fighting a clown. That just that just caught my interest and be like, you know what? I want to see how far Doink the Clown could go against just a complete madman in Terry Funk. So that actually sold me. So I'm gonna turn into Velocity TM. I'm gonna because I already
see,
forgot what the name of the film
see,
show
it's one of those we can update each other. We can update each other
yeah,
on what's going on. Did Andre the Giant eat a midget? Did Cactus did Cactus Jack and Bruiser Brody explode in the ring? Did Chainsaw Charlie actually take a chainsaw to a clown?
Huh, no
We
wonder
are
this clown
going.
died. His lungs are
This is
filled
the
with
first.
candy.
Tendy.
I do believe this is the first time we've had a split opinion, and so we will watch said matches. We
On top of our
will,
mountain.
on top of our mountain, we will enjoy said shows, and good luck to both of you.
Took the words right out of
Oh,
my mouth. Good
we're
luck to
going
both of you.
we're gonna need it. But now, because we have our split room, now is the point of our show where we bring it over to you, our fellow fans. Which show are you gonna be watching this Saturday night? But in all seriousness, which storylines of this past week in wrestling have you the most intrigued? Is the road to WrestleMania paved with gold, or do you need a little bit something more? No matter what you think all across the internet, let us know. YouTube comments, Facebook posts, no matter where you are, we are as well. And if you'd like to join in the conversation and find us where we are, just check us out in the description box below for our link tree. You can check us out at linktree/Scholars of Wrestling for all of our relevant social media links and join the conversation yourself. Because we're still going to be watching. We're going to be watching it all. We're going to be breaking it all down because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
See you for another action-packed week of wrestling.